Matsuyama is fun to watch when he's dialed in, so pure. Hashtag featured groups. I would agree. When someone is playing the way Matsuyama is playing, I mean, it's just, it's almost unreal.
That's a rare bird at the 6th of 250-yard par 3. Here's after a rare miscue with his 3-wood that he chunked. He made up for it. Just right up the gut after watching Rickie Fowler from a similar line give him a pretty good read. He followed it in. Had a shot at it at 9 for the 29. You know, the guy's number 4 in the world. I mean, he's won the Phoenix Open back-to-back, won the HSBC. He's dialed in a lot. It's not just today. This guy dials it in all the time. So you can see, as Jay said, that look in his eye, it's like pedal to the metal. 25 years old. I know how to make birdie on every hole.
He's played in 4 U.S. Opens, this being his 5th. Missed the cut last year, tied for 10th in 2013.
He's only missed the cut 3 times out of 18 tries in majors, so he knows he's had a taste of doing it right in these big stages. All right, Jay. 173 yards. Back up the hill a little bit.
Just a little bit of wind at their back. These balls are sitting perfectly in the center of the fairway. Rahm's is just a little left center.
So it's only 160 yards over that right front porch.
And Rickie's got a 9-iron.
Well, that tells me he's going to take it on. Because a little deep is just fine here. That's better than a little deep.
Yeah.
You can see he's downwind now.
It absolutely is, and that ball just from the fairway looked like it took a beautiful kick right towards that hole.
It's about 12 feet, Jay. 12 feet right of the hole. He's got a little right to lefter from about 12, 14 feet. That was a draw. This is going to be a cut. He can hold this up against the slope up here.
Hideki's got the exact same yardage, and he is using the exact club. This is a 9-iron, perfect lie. Just a slight breeze from behind and right, from the player's right.
This is beyond a green light special. It's like a speed trap. As my caddies used to say, a pin better get its helmet on because this is coming at you. Come on back.
Will it come back?
Oh, he thought it might. Those flags are in danger today.
They absolutely are. It's 5 yards closer, 168 for Jon Rahm, and this is a 9-iron as well.
He's going to have to saw this one off just a little bit. It's a lot of club for him. Get way up there, and it'll come way back. Missed the ball.
There you go.
All right.
A good look at birdie for both Fowler and Rahm here at number 10.
3 good reads, 3 good strokes, and they will have brought 1,575 yards to its knees.
Look at you doing that quick math.
Thank you.
Now that was impressive.
It's 525, all 3 of them. You want the over 1,000 yards and drives? You just saw it. 3 guys, well over 1,000. Probably about 350 apiece, 360.
And that's why everybody at home saying they get to a par 5 and it's 525. Okay, yeah, I might be able to get there in 2. No, this is a par 4.
And they're all slope 80, but those actually were 2 drives of about 340 and one of about 360. So it's fun. And it's what a different scene in a U.S. Open. It's very cool.
So it was really funny. On Monday, I'm walking the course with Patrick Reed and Pat Perez. And you were there. But this is at the end. And Pat Perez's caddy, they come up 18, and he says, "Have you played here before?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "How do we play this?" I go, "You guys play a very different game than I'm used to. I don't know how to do this."
Isn't that the truth?
And it's like, I don't know how to give you advice because I said I would lay up here. I play it out to the right. You guys, you might hit 3-wood and go for the green. Can't do it.
From 290, they do. Well, you know, Jack famously was out watching Tiger. I think it was the 97 Masters, the back 9, one of the rounds. And
the record-setting performance.
And he was talking to one of the club officials, and he said something to the effect that Tiger was playing a game with which he was unfamiliar, because someone had said that about him years earlier. I mean, there's a lot of people on this tour now that play a game that most of us are unfamiliar. I mean, Jay can attest, these 290-yard 3-woods and things, it's just, it's a marvel to see, and it's also outrageous.
Adam Scott from 301 this morning hit a 3-wood, and it went over the green on 18.
And he has no business being 3 over par either, by the way. He ought to be about 5 under, but
it's kind of like I said, guys, those ought to be called driver number 2s. I mean, the way these guys hit it is just remarkable. They hit it off a tee. They can hit it off the deck. It's just really impressive.
Well, they're at a venue that is allowing them to freely display their skills now, and it's really fun to watch. To go 7 under for the day.
Just over 21 feet, this ball will sweep from his right to left. A little bit downhill.
But not scary fast. We watched some pitches from the side here. He can give this a run. Give it a run. It's a little slow from there.
One of the first times we've seen him come up short on a putt.
Well, it even fooled Jay there. Jay thought it was going to be quick.
I absolutely did. I was breathing heavy, and I didn't even have a putter in my hand.
Well, you were still in bed while we were watching balls roll from that side this morning, so we were working.
I was getting the knots rolled out of my quads.
A par to start off the back 9 for Matsuyama. It's the first time today he's had back-to-back pars.
He was continually out of position with more than just his driver yesterday, and he is a man in complete control right now. Jon Rahm's got a putt of almost 13 feet. There is really not much movement in here. He needs a putt this length to go in to change his attitude.
It looks like he's putting down a trough. See if he can keep it in the trough. Nope. Just, you called that one, Jay. This didn't look like it was going to break.
These greens are just so darn good. I know he's pretty much shaking his head, but there's a lot of folks that are reading these greens well. Especially this man just now putting his ball down. That's
9 straight pars for Rahm after the opening bogey on 1.
This is the kind of putt a right-to-left player, a right-handed player just loves. Right at 13 feet, this ball's going to go about a foot right to left, and speed is not an issue.
To once again take the lead. You hear the fan in the back? Oh, Rickie. when you shoot 7 under in round 1 and you're playing the way he's playing, all of a sudden the expectations really go up. So they all walk away with pars here on number 10, and we head to number 11.
Today, the 11th hole is 468 yards. This is the one we've talked about all week. That tree, lone tree way in the distance, is actually what these players will judge their drive line off of. It'll shift a little bit based on, how much crosswind from which direction, but that tree in the distance is their reference point. They cannot see the fairway at all here. Today's hole locations cut 21 paces on and 9 off the left, and again, we've had the privilege of seeing some play earlier in the day, and ideally you would keep it under the hole here. This one gets really, really quick from above and left of the hole location.
So we have this wind switch. You're going back into the breeze, but there's not enough breeze to really make this an issue. Typically for right-handed players, we mentioned this earlier, a wind into us from the left is kind of our kryptonite. No one really prefers that wind, but this is more just a gentle breeze. It's maybe 5 miles per hour.
How many times have you seen or played in a PGA Tour event where they have put you on a golf cart to go to from one green to the next tee?
Tons.
Really?
It never used to happen much when in our younger years did it, Brooksy, and then all of a sudden most of these golf courses
the new
in the
courses
last 25 years were really housing developments, and so
okay,
the golf was kind of secondary to how the homes were going to be laid out.
And in some cases, they would use the event to promote their development. And we would have enormous walks sometimes from green to tee.
Right.
And they would shuttle us.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you'd have 5 shuttles, 6 shuttles, 4 shuttles, 3 shuttles.
And then we played one of our favorite events up in Denver called the International. A great friend of golf named Jack Vickers created a really cool event, and we didn't get many shuttles at all over there, Brooksy. I remember looking for oxygen after about 3 holes.
I want to say no shuttles.
I was trying to think of, was there a shuttle? I'm looking from that 8th. I can still remember dreading that walk from the 8th tee to the 9th green. I mean, the 8th green to the 9th tee. And I was in my 20s.
I was walk only.
Matsuyama still with the honor here at 11 with driver.
It's like those flags are wiggling back around the other way, Jay. Not much there.
Yeah, there's just not much of anything happening right now.
It's probably the kind of wind that if you're hitting it really, really solid, it really won't affect the shot much.
You mean like the way he's hitting it?
That's right.
You know where they used to put the sprinklers? Now they use the dual system on the right and left center of the fairway. This is Hideki just hit that where they used to put them, right down the center. Split the fairway.
Dice K looks pretty worried about it, doesn't he?
Rickie's got 3-wood.
I believe that was a 3-wood. Judging by the way his ball landed so softly, it wouldn't surprise me if that was a 3-wood for Hideki.
Alone in the lead after a bogey for Brooks Koepka at 1.
It looked to be turned over.
And he's found the rough here.
That's a pretty good break, Jay. That missed the big stuff by just a couple of steps.
I'm on the opposite side of the fairway, but I'll get up there and take a look at it. I see right where it landed. He is just outside of the fescue, it looks like, from my vantage point.
Oh, he's got a clean swing. But he's in the 3 primary rough, 3-4 inch rough. Had that been a driver on that line, that ball would actually been in the fairway. So he missed his target a little bit here. Again, Jon set up for a cut. You better force it to the right. Looks like he did that time. That time he did. Yeah, force it over there. You know, don't want it to happen. You got to make it happen sometimes.
That must have been a 3-wood for Rahm.
That was. Sometimes you want it to happen, but you got to make it happen to actually get good results.
Well, Rickie Fowler once here of Matsuyama, Fowler, and Rahm. Also, we've got featured group coverage of Keimer, Spieth, and Dustin Johnson, last year's champion, in featured holes 13, 14, 15. So put on your TV, take out your phone, computer, iPad, tablet, whatever. Stop working. It's after 5 o'clock in the East. It's U.S. Open weekend. Enjoy it. Fowler in the rough.
Very fortunate that his ball did not find the high fescue, and he's drawn a pretty good lie, all things considered, but this thing could come out extremely hot.
Jay's got to carry it. He could carry it about 20 yards short of the green. That left cross bunker that's short of the green.
No, that's where I think he and Joe are looking. I think they'll be looking even left of the green and let this this bank over here kind of throw the ball towards the flagstick.
Well, it's only about 150 yards to carry.
187-yard 9-iron for Rickie.
Trying to carry it about 160. Boy, it came out hot. And it's going to be quick, but it's not a big problem. But that is going to be quick from there, Jay.
That ball came out like a missile.
Yeah, that flew about 170 yards.
And again, guys, we've talked about misses, right? Your misses. That was a miss off the tee, and he got lucky. He found the rough, didn't find the fescue. And now he's behind the green, but he can still get up and down for his par.
And it was a 3-wood opposed to a driver, so when you do play conservative and you miss, then you're further back. Straightforward shot here for Jon.
Perfect lie, 8-iron for Jon, 185.
Should be able to finish under the hole. It's a fine shot right there, and that's putting right up the slope. Rickie's putt or pitch is going to be extremely quick, by the way. Hideki.
Hideki's got 168 yards, 8-iron. Breeze picking up just a few miles per hour in from the player's left.
It's almost 20 yards closer. He's playing the same iron as Jon just played. At least the number on it. The number on the club's the same. He was set up for a draw. Hit a straight ball. Oh, more bad.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Draw. He's set up for a draw. Love it.
His hand came off of that club so early, and the ball did not sound like it was crisply hit, but it flew right at the flagstick.
He was definitely set up more square there, and he was trying to play the shot that was called for. And whatever he was trying to do, doesn't really matter because the result is outstanding. That's about 5 feet to go 7 under par for the round. And at that point, I think we can say could start threatening the course record. That'd be fair.
I'm still trying to figure out, how did Rickie's second stay up on that huge apron up there? It looks so slopey from here. I'm standing down in the front right portion of the green, but it looks like it's a good solid 6-8 feet above the surface of the green, and
14 back, 14 out.
it looks like it should have fed right back towards the surface.
Well, it only landed about a step or two. You see the cameraman walking by there, carried past them, only about a yard short of the putting surface, and then shot right across, almost hit the pin, and came to rest where it is. So it landed almost on the green, Jay. It carried way up there.
It'd be interesting to note if he was guessing that or if he was just trying to think, as we were, to just kind of get the cover in that far front left bunker. He's got the putter out. And after his play on the 6th hole, when he was only a step and a half off the green, I was going to wonder, this is really going to be a quick putt, and it's going to break so much from his right to left.
Well, speaking with both Rickie and his caddy, Joe, this week, they said he would go and chip more often than he would putt if he were off the green, around the green. And he's put the putter back in the bag.
He has indeed.
I like this play. This is going to help him because of this turf is so easy and wonderful to play off of. He's going to be able to clip this ball and put some spin on it, which is going to help mitigate some of the downhillness of this shot.
Look where he's aiming.
I don't like that play at all. I know it didn't work out for him, but that wasn't what I was expecting at all.
That's what he'll have left for his par. He made one big par save at 6. This will be his longest par saving attempt yet.
Whatever he saw didn't quite equate that time.
Came out very low and runny. I was thinking more medium height. I know he was a little below his feet, but anyway, we have Jon Rahm now. He's got just about a 27-foot putt straight up the hill. If there's a putt that you want to have that you can be aggressive with, that he can use some of his aggression and aggressive mindset, this is exactly it.
Rahm finally gets one.
That's a start. Needs a string.
It could be very fun to watch from this point on.
Just his second birdie of the championship. He birdied 3 yesterday and gets him back to even on the round. +4 for the championship.
And where was he off the tee there?
In the fairway.
There you go.
An unfamiliar place.
Well, he just have any chance, he's got to put it in the short grass the rest of the way in.
This is unfamiliar territory right here for Rickie Fowler.
I think, Jay, he felt like he was pitching so up the slope that it didn't really matter how high up or the slope he got. And I think it was just, he just misread that slope right of the hole here.
I think you're right. I think he was hoping to go a little further right, but what he has left is a 14-foot putt straight up the hill that's going to move a little from his left to right. But again, he's missed the ball under the hole. He can be aggressive with his stroke and his speed.
This is to stay bogey-free for the championship. And that will be the first blemish on the scorecard for Rickie Fowler.
You know, Mark, you mentioned this earlier, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Sometimes that plays on you, and you have that in the back of your mind. I haven't made a bogey for 27 holes, 28 holes. You have people talking about it. Knock this thing in, get his bogey, and let's go play some more golf.
I agree with you. Kind of get that monkey off your back that you're Mr. Bogey free for the week. people start making a big deal about it. Maybe you're too conservative. He's not going to change his game plan, but just mentally being a little more aggressive in certain spots here. The weather is perfect. And speaking of aggressive,
this is for birdie number 7 on the day.
4 feet with just slight movement from the player's left.
keep that lower body still, which he did, and he pulled it.
He went firm at it.
Yeah, he pulled that just a hair. That was a lot of pace. Took a peek, but it had too much speed for that line. Okay, just don't let it be a momentum breaker.
A par for Matsuyama. A bogey for Fowler, his first of the championship, and Jon Rahm walks away with the birdie. Just his second of the championship, his first of the day. And now we go to number 12.
Well, here we are, 437 yards. It's actually going to be a short hole today. This is easily the most natural hole on the property. I was told every architect that ever saw this property had this hole designed on it. It's a natural between all the dunes. Green sits down below. That's the lone bunker on the hole. It's just a gorgeous hole. This is one you could definitely be dropped off, as you said, from a helicopter and turn around and think you're in Scotland, Ireland. The tee shot is more daunting when the wind is really blowing hard in the southwesterly direction. These guys will just,
and this is a rare sight,
land this ball on the top, about 265 to 275 yards. Just right of the crane is actually going to be the line.
A 3-wood for Rahm.
He set up to hit the same shot he hit off the last tee. And it looks like he overdid it this time. A rare miss to the right. And he got a good bounce. There you go. So that ball carried 275 yards. This is that one we talked about earlier today. The further you carry it down there, actually the wider this hole gets. So it's a little tighter at about the 260 mark. It's a little tighter. So I actually like driver here.
And that's what Matsuyama takes out of the bag.
He's going to hit it. His sight line would be just right of the crane as well. If he's going to cut it more, he can go at the crane. I don't have Bob Turner here to interpret for me. Hideki's longtime interpreter. But I think that's what they were going to say. Cut it off the crane.
Hand comes off.
Needs a kick to the right.
He gets a kick into the rough.
It's an awkward angle. It'll be difficult to stop, but not dead. It's not a pitch out. You can play that ball to the green.
Curious to see what Rickie Fowler hits here.
3-wood.
That's what I'm thinking.
That'd be my wild guess.
Coming off the bogey, having that plan.
Oh.
No, he's got the iron in his hand right now, but they're having a discussion.
Just a little breeze coming in from the left. It's a new wind direction, so they're probably trying to see how this wind direction fits into that strategy, that plan they put together.
Well, Jay, this is the same tee they used on this hole yesterday. So
good target.
That's right, Mark. There's a teeing ground. I don't know, 30 some odd yards back and further to the right.
But this is where they played, because the only reason the hole's 9 yards shorter is the pin's shorter. The whole location's shorter. This might actually be a hybrid. Not even sure that was a driver.
It's a 3-wood, and he turns back and he says, "Good job, Joe."
Whatever one it was the right one.
Doesn't go into a divot. It was the right decision. Trying to rebound after that bogey. Fowler and Koepka once again are tied for the lead here in the second round at 8. Show your love of the game with official U.S. Open merchandise. View the entire 2017 collection of U.S. Open merchandise online at usgashop.com. 12th hole here at Erin Hills, second round coverage of the 117th U.S. Open. Justin Kutcher alongside Mark Brooks and Jay Delsing covering this feature group of Rickie Fowler, Hideki Matsuyama, and Jon Rahm. And Fowler found the rough off the tee with a 3-wood. And Jay, what do you have for us?
Actually, Matsuyama is in the left-hand rough.
I'm sorry.
No, you're just fine. Matsuyama's he'll be last to play. Jon Rahm has got 143 yards from the middle of the fairway. And it's interesting, we got 3 balls in 3 different locations, 3 different distances, and not one of these players can come close to seeing the flagstick here.
But they can line it up with something back there.
And it looks like a receptive pin. This is a pitching wedge from 143 yards, and if he hits this ball right at the flagstick, it's going to move right on down towards the hole.
And that one checked up for him.
Good shot, about 16, 17 feet, Jay, right under the hole. Although that putt's still pretty fast. We watched that today. But he's got a good birdie opportunity. He's going to go over and check out where it is.
Matsuyama's going to play next, and he's got an interesting shot. If he can carry this ball he's 134 yards to the flagstick. If he can carry this ball somewhere in the 115 to 120 range, I believe this thing's going to funnel right towards the flagstick. He can miss it a little bit right and a little bit left. If he can judge how hard this comes out of this rough, he's got a chance to hit this ball close.
Got to make sure he covers all that stuff on the left.
That ball just took off.
Well, that was the miss. Short was not going to do him any good. Short and left. I'd rather be there than the bunker. I'm sure he would. It's long, Jay, but 45 feet.
Yeah, absolutely. He had to guard out of that thing coming out fluffy. Now Rickie's in the middle of the fairway. Perfect lie. Wind is just pushing straight across from the player's left. 131-yard wedge.
That's a 3/4 pitching wedge for Rickie. About 88%. Needs to kick right. Boy, he didn't get it there.
A bit surprising there from Fowler. Coming up short.
He probably mishit that a little bit, Jay. Sounded a little heavy. That's the way it acted.
The thing that I noticed on that one is he did not have that same crisp lower-ish flight. And so that ball got eaten up by the wind a little bit. And it just did not come out the way I expected it, or for that matter, the way he expected it.
It sounded a bit heavy, and it was actually a little left, so.
We've talked so much about Matsuyama and the round that he has put together so far today. How about Chez Reavie? 7 under through 12 holes. He opened up yesterday with a 75, and he's now 4 under for the championship. Not too shabby.
Well, the scoring has been relatively even morning to afternoon today, it appears to me, without having any statistical analysis to support that feeling. It's just very similar, other than Chez's score. Rickie's not in any danger, no problems here. It's just you kind of feel like you had a green light special that you sort of kicked to the curb here. Now you got to be full attention to make sure you walk off with 4.
Matsuyama surveying his putt.
His ball is rolled just through the green in the back right portion. And he's going to have to look up, quite a ways left of where this hole is located, because there's a brow that pushes, the right side of this green towards the middle of the green. So this ball's going to break significantly from his left to right. Judging the speed is going to be really difficult. It wouldn't surprise me if he does not putt this ball.
You can see a good view from here. Boy, look back up the fairway as well. That's just it's gorgeous how this hole rolls down through the valley. 1 bunker. That's it. Gorgeous hole. You can see he's aiming well left of the hole.
And that's what he'll have left to try to save par.
You know, there's just so many ebbs and flows in a round of golf. I mean, he mishits his 8-iron from the middle of the fairway and goes up 4.5 feet from the hole and misses. And now he hits the ball in the rough and catches a lie that he can play. And he's got to wind up with about a 10 or 12 footer for par. There's just so many different momentum swings. It's very interesting to watch and hard to stay level in this game. Rickie's coming straight from the front edge, uphill, compared to Matsuyama's that was downhill and left to right. Rickie's is going to be uphill and slightly right to left. Will be a slow putt.
This one likes to snap hard to the left as it finishes. Didn't quite get it there.
Jay, I thought you bring up a great point, because you think about the missed birdie opportunity for Matsuyama at 11. Then his tee shot here at 12. And now he's going to be facing this long par-saving putt attempt.
Well, so many people wonder, why is golf so mental? Well, those sort of things happen to you, and the first thing to go is your rhythm. You know, what's one of the most important things you can have in a golf swing, a sound golf swing, is good rhythm. It's really difficult to stay that disciplined and stay level out here. Now, Jon Rahm has got a great look at birdie here. This is from about 17 feet. He got a little bit of teach from Rickie Fowler's putt, but this should not do too much, and he can be aggressive here as well.
To make it 2 in a row. Burns the edge again.
Good stroke. Got cellophaned. I thought I'm going to look later. It looked like something unusual there when Hideki was standing over that 50-footer there. It looked like he was aiming in one direction and actually looking at the hole back and forth, where most people would be looking where the ball's going to roll. I thought that was unusual.
I noticed that as well, Mark. And his
Thank
ball
you.
consequently started well low of the intended line.
I mean, he didn't get it near high enough. So I'm sure he was looking at the hole for speed purpose.
He does have this straight back up the hill. These are the sort of putts that keep a round together, keep them going.
He's been making them today. See if he can keep a string alive.
He does a big par-saving putt here at 12. He remains bogey-free here in the second round.
You know, Mark, after missing something like that on the last hole and then coming around and making that 10 or 12 footer for par, that's almost like making 2 birdies right there.
And I could be wrong, but I'm sensing not quite as much hesitation at the finish of his backstroke today. All right, Rickie. Looks like Hideki's stroke's a little bit more, I don't know, rhythmic to me.
I was calling it purposeful, but I'm with you. It isn't as soft and quiet and still in the backswing quite as much.
This is outside the hole.
This is a big putt for Rickie. This is about a 6.5-foot putt. He's got it under the hole so he can stay aggressive.
Back-to-back bogeys for Rickie Fowler at 11 and 12. He had back-to-back birdies here yesterday.
We talked about this specifically. This is the first hiccup for Rickie in this championship, and now let's see how he responds. The 13th hole will be a good indicator of where his head and his golf swing are.
Well, his first hiccup was his pitch, his choice of line and, club selection and what he did on his third there at 11, in my opinion. And it was pretty bulky. Probably not the right. He didn't see the shot right. Let's just put it that way. He didn't see the shot right. So he followed it up, with another unforced error. So in my opinion, 2 unforced errors back-to-back for Rickie Fowler.
And now the par 3, 13th.
Today, this hole is set up from 198 yards. We're playing from the front of the back tee. The reason it's shorter today instead of 227 is this hole location is cut on the front left, a mere 8 steps on, and 4 off the left. As you can see, behind this hole location, it actually drops off. So it's a pretty tight pin from 198 yards. It's 190 to the front.
This has sucker pin written all over it with a left miss. There's a big gaping pot bunker that guards the front left portion of this green that needs to be avoided. No wind blowing now at all, nothing.
Well, we learned earlier, Jay, actually the tough 3 is when they hit it way deep into the green and have a 45-footer. It's a tough 2-putt. Just short's actually not bad, to be honest.
Here comes Jon Rahm with an 8-iron.
That just doesn't make sense.
Sit down now. Sit hard. Sit down.
That was the right club from 198, just a little 8-iron. That's
And
actually,
he asked for it to sit down.
Yeah, that's actually a good shot. That was a really good swing, and that was a draw. For all you anti-hookers out there, his best swings right now are coming out of the inside. Drawing. It must be a little bit down breeze now.
Not much of any breath. Matsuyama's got an 8-iron also.
Wow. It's 190 to the front, and it's down about 5 yards. So it's a 185-yard shot. He's hung this out a little bit to the right, I think. And that's safe. Safely aboard. About 30 feet. You talk about good miss. It's a beautiful miss.
Now Rickie with a 7.
That makes more sense. I feel better. It's a 185-yard carry. That's why these guys are so good. Those are two, you could tell by their body reaction, marginal shots, and they're both about 30 feet from 200 yards. This will be a good time to get one to fit in there for Rickie. That's a beautiful draw swing. Let's just hope it's the right weight. That's deep. It's safe, but he's got a kind of a tricky 30-footer from the edge, up a slope, going away from him at the end. That's going to be a tough 2-putt.
Rickie Fowler, back-to-back bogeys. He is now one shot back of the leader, Brooks Koepka, here in the second round of the U.S. Open.
There's a lot to love about golf, and nothing beats the U.S. Open. Tickets on sale now, usopen.com.
Back here at Erin Hills, tickets for next June's 118th U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills are now on sale. Visit usopen.com and click the icon for tickets for more information. The green at 13. The par 3 13th. Rickie Fowler trying to right the ship after back-to-back bogeys.
You can see from this angle, Rickie was walking up that slope. He's got to putt up that slope, and the problem here is that it's going away from him as it finishes its run out. You know, he just needs to get the right speed here, and that's too far firm.
You mentioned it before. There was going to be a hiccup at some point. How long will the hiccup last?
Well, it's lasting too long for me right now. I'm going to say Joe needs to earn his keep here. Joe Scovrin, it's his job now to figure out how to settle him down a little bit. He's clearly rattled. I mean, he made a good swing there, but it was, I'm not going to say the wrong club, just it didn't fit. Here's Jon Rahm.
Good speed. Easy tap in for a par.
And he needs a trio of birdies, I believe, to make the weekend, or safely make the weekend. And as they say, sometimes he's running out of holes, running out of time. Although he can't overpower this next one, which is his style. Hideki's got a putt. He can actually give this a bit of a run.
Coming off that clutch par-saving putt on the 12th. birdie number 7.
From the likely to the unlikely. Fair trade, 11 to 13. Lucky 13 for Mr. Hideki.
5 under now for the championship. He's just 3 off the lead.
And I think this is the most critical putt Rickie's had in the 2 days of this championship. Time to work on your breathing and your fundamentals only. Get focused.
He could not miss a putt yesterday. He could not miss a putt earlier in the round on the front 9. And all of a sudden, on the last 3 holes, if he puts this in, it's 3 straight bogeys.
You know, Jay, if he could figure out how to get off that island mentally, that would help. So if I was Joe, I'd say, well, what would you do if this was the, the Bay Hill Classic?
Or we were playing at home together and we had a $5 Nassau, or I was
Well,
playing for dinner or something like that.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but, what did we do at the Honda?
These guys grew up together. They've known each other forever. Joe's mom and dad ran Valley Junior Golf. That's how they met. Rickie's been in this position before, but all of a sudden, he went from being in the lead all alone to now into a tie for 4th, 2 shots off the lead.
Well, what I mean is when I say get off the stage, it's you've got to find a way to get in the cocoon, to be in your own little world, and maybe not be so conscious that you're on the stage. Get focused in the execution, which looks like what he did for 27 holes.
I love the idea of bringing back those positive memories. Hey, how about that birdie you made at the Honda? Or how about, some of the other great things that he's done in the Ryder Cup? He's got a whole library full of good things he can think about. Now's the time to bring one of those volumes out.
Matsuyama with a 3-wood off the tee here at 14. Trying to avoid that bunker.
It needs to do something to miss that bunker, and it does. It's fine. Again, not so sure he was getting up and 2 out, but it probably has now.
They're playing from that upper left teeing ground. So this hole's probably playing another 15 yards longer than yesterday.
Well, this hole is 603 yards today. We didn't give you the flyover, but
it was 599 yesterday.
There's 2 tees that are actually similar in distance, but a slightly different angle.
Rahm also with a 3-wood.
And he's got it kind of figured out now.
And guys, I've got to tell you this. I talked to Rahm's caddy before the tournament started, and I said, what do you think of the course? Oh, John loves it. He's got hit driver everywhere. And now look, he's made a birdie, and he's getting the ball in the fairway, and he's in love with that 3-wood right now.
Well, this is what Rickie was doing during the practice rounds. He was hitting this iron. So he's got a 2-iron. Sticking to his plan.
He did this yesterday. He hit 2-iron. And he's definitely out of sorts. That ball's okay. That's why you hit a 2-iron. His brain is spinning right now. The cogs are going really, really fast, in my guesstimation. And there's got to be a way to slow him down. And he knows how to do it. But he needs to do it.
If you want to talk about something that's a little more positive, how about Matsuyama 7 under for the day with 5 holes left?
Back here at the 14th hole, second round of the 117th U.S. Open. The site is Erin Hills in Erin, Wisconsin, just outside of Milwaukee. First time the state of Wisconsin has hosted the U.S. Open. And Rickie Fowler, our first round leader, has all of a sudden hit a bump in the road. 3 consecutive bogeys after going bogey-free through the first 28 holes of this championship. Hideki Matsuyama is 7 under on the round, 5 under for the championship. He's got 7 birdies on the day. That's what Fowler did in round 1. And Jon Rahm is even for the day and +4 for the championship. And Fowler, after hitting 2-iron off the tee, didn't hit it well, not where he was looking to go, but he's in the fairway. And he said, look, my goal is to stay out of bunkers, stay out of fescue. He's accomplished that. Now he's got to hit a good layup.
Rickie's got 313 yards to the flagstick and probably got to move this ball about 215 or 20 yards up this left side of this fairway. This is no bargain layup here either. The good news is there's not any wind to really deal with. There's maybe 2 or 3 mile an hour wind. They're just keeping us cool a little bit.
Looks to be about a 4-iron, Jay.
That was my guess as well.
And that's on a fine line. Be able to see the flag stick from there.
Matsuyama's got a similar situation. He's 14 yards closer, 299 to the flagstick. No chance at all to try to take on this par 5. Probably a similar club. Might push this thing up just a little farther than Rickie.
Well, the further up you go, actually the better view you have. And, you know, these guys will either play to the fattest part or they'll try to play up to a yardage they want for their third.
And comes off.
He shouldn't get to the fescue, but he certainly has missed the fairway, which is going to complicate matters for his third. We have Jon Rahm from 276 yards. Perfect lie, right down the right side of the fairway. Full metal jacket 3-wood coming.
Drifting off to the right. And that's going to be in the bunker.
It's going to leave a long bunker shot. Up a ridge. A testy up and down that he desperately needs. It getting back to three over for the championship. And I'm going to do a little peeking. It looks like 1 over is really hanging in there for the cut. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say 1 over is going to be needed to play the weekend.
So many different ways to watch this U.S. Open. You can tune in on TV on Fox. You can watch the featured groups, what you're watching right here, or Martin Keimer, Jordan Spieth, Dustin Johnson, And also the featured holes 13, 14, 15. What do you know? It's the same picture right there. Hey. We are on number 14, the par 5, 603 yards here today. Jon Rahm went for it in 2, came up short in the bunker. As far as the weather is concerned for the first 2 rounds, we could not have gotten better weather.
No, it's outstanding. Mornings have started around high 60s, moved up into the low 80s.
And how about it gets sunny at like 5:45 in the morning, and it stays light out till after 9 p.m. at night.
It was light at 4:30 this morning when I got up.
Yeah, I was still sleeping.
Well, Rickie's walked all the way up. Gotten a good look at it. It's probably a good idea to get a better feel for what it looks like. He's got a...
I noticed he did that yesterday. He sure did. Rickie's got 112 yards from the middle of the fairway. No wind at all.
This should be some kind of number he can handle. Three bogeys in last 3 holes. That's officially on the train.
You know something, he's had some pulls today, which we didn't see much of yesterday. And if you can get this thing long and left, this ball will come back towards the flagstick.
That was a miss after a couple of errant shots. That was a miss after another errant shot. And that was a miss after a really poor lag putt. He actually hit a solid shot towards the green, but it was a little deep, and he just bludgeoned that first putt past. For Rickie, we're used to watching him hit him up there about 6 inches from the hole from 40 feet.
Yeah, his speed on the putts have been so good.
And it still is. He's just time. He's had his, hopefully he's had his time.
Well, if you want to land in hole, I'm okay with it landing too fast. I just want to make sure we're on the same.
But there's a good way to get off this bogey train, and that's to hit a solid quality wedge right here.
This ball's got to be carried at least to the flagstick.
Well, just
Any amount of spin, and it's coming off the front edge, and that'll be a critical miss.
Just dial it in. Dial it in.
Oh! He almost dialed it in the hole.
That's the best way to get off the train right there. Little 5-footer up the hill. Almost dunked it. That's how to get off the train, Rickie. Just took a peek. Missed by a couple inches. More importantly, it stopped. Stopped, Jay. He's got about 5 feet straight up the hill.
It couldn't be better unless it went in. Now Matsuyama from the right rough with a thick line, 97 yards. This ball's got to be carried to the front edge.
Boy, that must have been a thick lie.
He needed all the force in that big, strong body of his to get that ball out of that lie.
He's listed 5'11", 200 pounds. He looks even bigger and stronger than that.
I think he could leg press about 800. That was an unforced error on his layup as well. So some uncharacteristic, unforced errors by these two guys the last few holes. Meanwhile, the saga of Jon Rahm continues.
So while all this was going on, Jon Rahm and his caddy came up to the back left portion of this green and were looking at this slope as if to say, we're going to throw this ball up some 40, 50 feet right of this flagstick and have it just peel itself down towards this whole location.
I mean, is his lie okay? It looks like he's got a problem with the back, with being up against the bank.
I can't see that from where I am.
Well, he definitely has something that's not just straightforward. I think he's having to, I think this ball careened near the backside of this bunker. So he's trying to figure out how to get it up. There you go. See, it is, there we go. We got a different view. Jay, he's got about 6 inches behind him is the back edge of the bunker, the grass part. He's going to try to play a low but get over this huge face in front of him. Scooter all the way past the pin. Not a shot you work on very often. Hopefully it doesn't get too far.
And wait till you see what he has now.
Well, it's just a unfortunate break where that ball careened down to that bunker where you didn't have a play. That's kind of what they talked about as the week began, before we got here. These bunkers are going to give you a lot of irregular stances and lies.
They wanted these bunkers to almost be like a hazard. They wanted them to be penal.
Well, they are penal.
And that's the defense on this green, one of the defenses for this par 5.
Well, and these guys aren't used to that. I mean,
they're not typical bunkers the way they're shaped.
That is correct. They want a variety of lies when the balls went into the bunkers, and they've achieved their goal.
John's got a thick downhill line, this rough, and he's going to try to lift this club up abruptly in his backswing and drop it straight on the ball and just get it ever so slightly trickling out of this rough and onto this approach.
Not happy with it.
Clear it.
I think most people watching at home are saying, yep, done that one before.
It's really hard to find clubs that do what you want them to do.
Amen. But I like to look. Keep looking. It's more fun to try to buy a game than to try to develop one.
Matsuyama's got just over 30 feet downhill, left to right. Should be really, really fast.
Most important thing is to pick the start line. If you make a mistake, make it a little high. It'll kill a little speed.
Coming off the birdie at 13.
Looks to be nice pace. Shouldn't be a problem. So he paid for his poor layup, second shot. I mean, he's still got 3 feet, but again, sort of making your own trouble.
And now this is to save par for Rahm.
I don't think Jon Rahm would agree with me that you're make your own trouble after his 2 shots. However, his second shot was pretty wildly right of his intended line. This green is 35 yards wide.
right at about 20 feet straight up the hill. Ball should move from his left to right.
And that's kind of a must make.
Dropping a shot at the par 5.
And probably losing a sand wedge along the way as well.
He bogeyed this hole yesterday. He bogeys it here today.
He can't feel it right now. You couldn't tell him right now. But in the scope of his career, this 1-2 round event is not even a blip on the radar. But he doesn't feel that way right now.
This is a big putt for Rickie. Inside the hole, right about 6.5 feet. It was right as soon as he hit it.
Nearly holed it out
Wow.
from the fairway. Misses the birdie putt.
I'd love to time that routine. That routine looks just so much quicker to me. It just does not look as relaxed, and obviously it's not. He's feeling it right now.
That one really surprised me. Thought he had time to regroup. This one will take your full attention. And he got it in there.
Yep.
At 7 under, and he still has some birdie opportunities ahead of him with some decent, good swings, which is pretty much all he makes.
This is to snap the streak of 3 straight bogeys for Fowler.
Yes, but it's going to feel like 4 bogeys.
It is a par, a disappointing par for Rickie Fowler. And I'm going to ask you guys this as they have to walk up the hill to 15. Jay, you said it seemed quick when he got up to that putt. It was a long wait after he hit that shot, which was so good, for him to actually attempt the birdie putt because of Rahm, Matsuyama. Does that play into it at all?
Oh, I think it absolutely does. I mean, there is an internal clock that all we tour players have, and we always are judging them and readjusting them for the players that we play with. But I'm talking about he just wanted to get up and hit that putt much sooner than he could have, and consequently, I believe his routine was quicker.
And Rahm, somebody will go home with a souvenir.
Jay, I think you're right. I think his routine probably is a little quicker. But that's also why we all feel like that stroke he has should work so well under pressure. And it does. And it has.
Let's check out this short par 4 15.
Well, they stayed with what they told us they were going to do, and they're using this back tee first 2 rounds. This being round 2, it's 348 yards. Similar setup to yesterday, other than the hole location is closer to the front. It's 7 steps on, 21 feet, and 5 off the right.
Matsuyama with the iron.
Not a 230 shot is what most guys are looking for. This looks to be going right.
Doesn't like it very much off the tee.
If it's short enough, it's fine.
Yep. The benefit of hitting the iron off the tee.
The benefit of having a great swing that
also helps.
That your cruddy swings is only about 15 yards right of your target. Again, we talked about it earlier in the week. This is not a gimme layup. It's not just a given. Made easier today by the lack of the wind. This looks to be a 4-iron. And a good swing, and he likes it. Not down the middle.
And by the way, Rickie Fowler right now is 2 off the lead at 6 under. However, he's got these 4 holes remaining. He could still get back in it with the lead.
It's just all part of the story. I mean, they're not handing out the trophy until we play 72 holes, and he may still wind up on top after 72 holes, and this will just be part of his story.
You got that right, Jay.
Jon Rahm, a new ball.
Did not some a player just a couple of weeks ago shoot like 77 the 3rd round and win the golf tournament?
Jason Duffner 2 weeks ago at Mr. Nicklaus's Memorial.
And I doubt as he was slogging his way through that 5 over 77, he felt like he was going to probably be picking up a trophy the next afternoon.
And Mark, he won by 4.
So
you're saying there's a chance?
yes, sir.
There's more than a chance. It's a 1-shot lead right now for Brooks Koepka at 8 under through 14 holes. And follow U.S. Open action anytime and from anywhere. It's available for iOS and Android. We are on the 15th hole. The par 4 348-yard hole here at Erin Hills. Rickie Fowler, Hideki Matsuyama, and Jon Rahm all took irons off the tee.
It's less than our numbers at home. You got it? Yeah, you like playing 17, 18? Yeah, with our home numbers, yeah.
We should have a good reference. He just had 112 on the previous hole, so should have a good feel for it. Came back on him a little bit, Jay. It's probably about a 15-footer up the hill. Seems like he hit a fairly special shot here yesterday. Best of my recollection. This is tailor-made for him. He loves a little left to righter. And that's what the shot would call for. Probably pulled it. And that's going to be some considerable work to get that down in 2 strokes.
Not quite like yesterday.
Well, I know he's not fatigued physically because he's in great shape, great physical condition, loves the gym, disciplined. And it needs to go 77 yards and be online. Come on back. That
Beautiful shot.
That's 77 yards. You know, I think he's just, again, I've said it a couple times, he's not used to being in this position. I'm not saying he's embarrassed by any stretch. That's maybe it would be the wrong term, but he hates being out of it. And he kind of knows he's out of it. So
Played golf at Arizona State for Tim Mickelson, Phil's brother. Won 11 times at Arizona State, second all-time to only one person.
might be Phil.
Who won 16 times. Had a top 5 finish as an amateur at the Waste Management Phoenix Open.
I know Phil's been a mentor to Jon as well. I'm sure he'll tell him, try to learn something. Find something to take away from this experience, and then file it. File it away, deep away.
Well, he probably thought, look, last year I was an amateur, and I finished tied for 23rd.
Oh, I don't think he thinks that. He knows he can win the golf tournament. The place, the way he drives the ball, it's a good place for him.
Sometimes those expectations can really, really get the best of you, though, instead of playing one shot at a time, and that's how he's done well in won tournaments in the past. You get ahead of yourself a little bit. Not very good.
I think his ball striking's just been off, to be honest. I think whatever key he had, it hasn't worked. And clearly he's been frustrated by it. Probably, in a way, hasn't helped that he's had a 7-under round going right in front of him both days. So I think he'll file it away in the deep, dark closet and not bring it out again. He's hit the ball poorly. Maybe it's, he'll work on it, change the preparation or something next time. And he's 22. It's 22, Jay.
25-year-old Matsuyama has got a 33-foot putt. About halfway down the length of this putt, there is a ridge, about a 2.5-foot ridge that's going to speed this ball up and push it to his right. It's a really difficult putt to hit the right speed.
Well, just find your place on the ridge to let the ball crest and let gravity do the rest. That looks like what he's done.
Matsuyama tracking.
Yeah, he did it beautifully. Found a spot on the ridge to let the ball die out and let the gravity take over. There's nothing you can do about it after that.
I believe he thought he made that as well.
Well, it looked good after he crested the hill. There's the ridge view. And there's nothing you can do but watch now. Watch and hope. Darn near got it in there.
Mm-hmm. Would have been number 8.
I mean, that was, again, a loose wedge. But they still are guarding against that right side there, so.
All right, Rickie's got just a little over 15 feet up the hill. Great look. This ball is going to move. This is about maybe a ball and a half outside the left edge.
Ball caught up a little bit.
It had a little bobble right off the blade as well, Mark. It almost hopped.
It sure did. You could see it.
Back-to-back pars for Fowler. The last time he had a birdie came on number 7.
Now Jon Rahm to convert.
Right about 5.5 feet. Not much to it, just a little right to left.
Keep his hopes alive by birdieing into the house by making this one.
He's got it.
Can't get all 4 unless you get number 1.
Second birdie on the back 9 for Jon Rahm.
I don't think he'd be thrilled if we called that a bounce back, even though it technically is.
I think it was the new ball.
That's true.
But the new ball in play.
They will find that other ball.
Oh, it's already been found.
In the year 2075. When they excavate for dinosaur bones. All right, let's move on to the beautiful par 3 16th. Look at this green set right into the dune. These coffin-style bunkers. Today's hole location is about 6 yards, 6 or 7 paces beyond where yesterday's hole location was. There's a ridge, as you can see. This hole location's only a few steps above that ridge where those arrows are running on the green. They've actually moved the tee some 30 yards to the left and changed the angle that these players are playing this shot on. There, we could see a graphic eventually, but it's 30 yards further left. Which, actually, if you were figuring out where the pin was, the hole location was today versus yesterday from the other tee, you'd probably get more, take a few more steps.
Right.
Does it make sense?
That's right.
They sort of change what their front is to get their hole location.
Jon Rahm's first to hit. He's got a 9-iron. Not a breath of air out right now. That flag is just hanging limply on the 16th here.
And that's
beautiful hole.
That's all they can see, however, is the flag. They can see the right bunker and the flag.
Stay up. No. That was, what, 2 inches away from being perfect?
I'm going to go with a foot, just to be kind. Another couple of feet, that ball's probably stone dead, 2 feet from the hole. It's still makeable, but wow. Another yard anyway, and that ball's tight.
Another couple of inches and it stays up on the ridge.
It sure might, or if it hit firmer. A lot of ifs. I would suspect an 8-iron for Hideki. Or nuclear 9-iron. Jay's there.
Believe it or not, this is a 7-iron for Hideki.
Wow. He's going for the cut. That's a cut swing. And it should have been an 8-iron. It's a good 30 feet long. Dice K, 8-iron. But it's safe. Safely aboard, and he's still 7 under for the round.
And by the way, Brooks Koepka just had a bogey. So it's now a 4-way tie at 7 under with Paul Casey, Brian Harmon, Tommy Fleetwood, and Brooks Koepka. So Fowler is 1 back of that.
7-iron for Rickie as well.
It's just a driving range 7-iron. Stock. JJO!
Caught a bit of a break. It came back down, but did it come back down enough?
Well, we won't know till he gets there. Starts messing with his backstroke.
That ball was looking quite a ways left from the teeing ground, guys.
It's in the left coffin. It's about hole high. He got on the left side of the teeing ground here. So he was intending to play a draw, which he did. And it just turned early. He just turned it a little bit too soon. You can see there, it's going to be close. As that ball exits that bunker, it's going to be downhill as well. That's our cup cam.
That's what they're aiming for.
It's going to be dicey. It's going to be dicey.
Well, Daisuke Shindo has done a nice job with Hideki Matsuyama In this second round, Matsuyama has performed beautifully. 7 under par, 7 birdies, no bogeys to get to 5 under. He's 2 back of the lead. Fowler had 3 straight bogeys, 11, 12, and 13. He is 1 over on the round, 1 back of the leaders. And Jon Rahm has a couple of birdies on this side and a bogey. He's even on this round and +4 for the championship. Rickie Fowler on 7.
This was after one of his loose pitching wedge from 128 yards that he blasted to the back of the green and made a bomb. After a bulky chip at 11, it turned into a bogey. Misplayed wedge from the fairway, misplayed putt from off the green, another misplayed putt from 45 feet.
And now this bunker shot.
Well, fortunately, he had room.
And that's a fantastic bunker shot by Fowler to try to save par.
Luckily, he had room there to play that shot, and he played it perfectly.
That ball, if that ball doesn't move another 4 or 5 inches towards the green side part of that bunker, he is really going to be up a tree. But that was beautifully played, wonderfully. That was an extremely fast bunker shot coming out of there. Forget the fescue that he had to deal with in his backswing.
Well, you got that right, Jay. That was very close for that swing to be able to be made. Boy, Jon Rahm's ball trickled back good 17, 18 feet away.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Jon Rahm. I mean, this whole location is probably only 2.5 steps over that ridge, and his ball definitely took a peek before heading back towards the front of the green. Now he's got every bit of almost 40 feet straight up the hill. Ball should be moving just ever so slightly right to left. Not a lot of break in it.
Needs a make, and he knows it.
Oh!
Wow.
Gave it a chance.
Boy, did he ever. See, you just can't believe it. That he's 4 over par. You just can't believe it, which is great. It's uncharacteristic, and it won't be the norm.
Now Matsuyama's got 36 feet down the hill, quite a bit of speed, and he has definitely got to be mindful of that ridge. That's only about, I'm going to say 6 or 7 feet on the other side of this hole.
This green looks pretty shiny from our view.
You know, we mentioned it earlier, but these greens are all starting to get a little of that U.S. Open shine to them.
Look for dead weight.
Matsuyama so doesn't have enough on it, but that's a good putt.
That's a great putt.
A good 2-putt for his par. Six under on the front, 1 under so far on the back. And he still has a par 5 to play. Rahm for his par. Now, you said he has to birdie in from 15. He birdied 15, but there is the possibility of an eagle on 18. And Rickie, a good par save, a sand save.
Well, if they don't get a little helping breeze at 18, it's going to be a pretty large ask to get home this time of the day. They have 18 at 676 yards. Here we are at the bunkerless 17th hole at Erin Hills. Today, this hole set up at 512 yards. And it's only 500 yards to the front edge because the pin is 12 on. Pretty generous fairway here. Semi-blind. They can see the right third of the fairway from the teeing ground. Just to the right of this hole location, you'll see those arrows flowing down to the right. That's an area to be avoided. Makes for a pretty dicey up and down. This one just tests your ball striking skills. It's a fair width fairway. It's a fair green. It gives you a couple of options and ways to play into it.
Toughest hole on the course, and Rahm has the honor.
Excellent.
That was the draw swing.
And I believe on every draw swing, he's found the fairway.
For the most part.
With the driver.
I'm not saying he's going to go to a draw, but today, the 2 or 3 that he did choose to draw turned out pretty good. Hideki's not going to go to the draw. He's going to stay with his power fade, which actually narrows this fairway just a bit, to be honest with you. You got to send it down that left side that you can't really see. It's probably hanging on the right side. Kind of one-handed it. That's right center. A little further back than he probably wants to be. And now Rickie Fowler. See if he doesn't just set up square and just rip one down the gut. That's squaring up. Look, way left.
Yep.
Which is better than it's better than that strip of left that's right there, because now we only have about a 5-yard wide strip of the bad stuff.
He needs a birdie and an eagle to get to that projected cut line at +1. Rickie Fowler, he pulled it left. There's the flag to mark where his ball is. And Jay, how is it looking over there?
His lie is absolutely perfect over there. It is sitting very, very nicely and clean, albeit at 214 yards from the flagstick.
The game now is to figure out where to put this ball to give yourself the best chance to make a 4. I'm not saying 3's out of the picture, but that's the game.
It's similar in a way to the foul ball that Jon Rahm had hit on number 4, except Rahm's was much further offline and wound up with a 120 or 130 yard shot. Rickie's got 214 yards, and he does have to contend with this ball may jump a little bit. It's a very exacting shot.
Well, the problem he has is there's a large hill with heavy fescue on it that's short and left of the green. and it cannot come out left.
And visually, Mark, that is really an intimidating look from back here. We're starting to get a little bit of wind blowing from the player's right, which could help him a little bit hold this ball in there.
So
he's got a 7-iron from 214 yards, so this is going to be a heater.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ideal shot would be some kind of controlled draw flyer, which sounds nutty, but that's what he would need to try to do.
Sit.
And that came out like a rocket.
Wow.
Jay, it's about 10, 15 yards through the green.
He hit that. It came out so fast.
That actually landed 2/3 into the green, so that flew about 220 yards, I guess.
Now Matsuyama's got 203 yards, perfect line to fairway, tiny tap over his right shoulder, and he's got a 7-iron.
Needs to be left of the hole. Right is a no-no. Short right is the no-no here. He's leaning that way. Be up.
He doesn't like it.
Well,
came up short.
That's not the place to be. They look tired to me, Jay. They kind of running out of gas there, it looks like.
I know I am.
Hold on, please. Quiet. Thank you.
It's a long walk. They're on about mile number 17 right now for these 2 days. This is truly a physical and mental test.
Jon Rahm's got an 8-iron from 179 yards, perfect line to fairway.
He doesn't like it either. He'll be right next to Matsuyama.
Well, at least he can show him one of the options.
So Matsuyama and Rahm are both short and right. Fowler is long and left.
I got to tell you, I was able to catch just a glimpse of the conversation between Joe and Rickie, and Rickie is playing part-time psychologist right now. We're just talking about we're fine, we're in great shape, we're going to continue to hit good shots, we're going to stick to our plan, and he's working on Rickie just to try to get those good thoughts flowing again.
Well, that's good to hear.
A look at the leaderboard. Paul Casey, Brian Harmon, Brooks Koepka, three-way tie for the lead at 7 under. Rickie Fowler is tied for 4th with now Jamie Lovemark and Tommy Fleetwood.
Let's go, Rickie. Get this one.
Matsuyama at 5 under and a tie for 7th with a bunch of other players, including an amateur in Cameron Champ. Brant Snedeker putting together a good round, 3 under on the day. Chez Reavie, 7 under through 17. Both Reavie and Matsuyama are chasing the mark set by Johnny Miller, 8 under par for the lowest round in a U.S. Open championship.
As you said, Rickie's ball's run through the green some nearly 20 yards. He's on the downslope, and he's probably got himself about a 45-yard shot back to this flagstick. And if he goes 6 feet too far, his ball's going to funnel off the front of the green and go right over where Rahm and Matsuyama's ball finished.
He is back into the breeze a little bit.
Ever so slightly, yes, and it's
So he can be maybe a little more aggressive than one might think. But I agree. It's almost time to make sure you don't. He's got to play a bit of a safety, in other words.
He absolutely does. And it is really going to be hard to get this ball inside of 10 feet. I mean, he's going to have to really shake off what's happened in the last hour and a half or 2 hours.
He's going to take it up in the air a little bit. Well, that's better than a safety.
Very well done.
That's about what I would have expected, about 8 to 10 feet short, which is fine.
It's really the only place he could put the ball. I mean, if he gets too aggressive with this, he's got to stare down a double bogey quicker than he knows what to do with.
Rahm will play first, and he's going to choose to putt.
Honestly, I have not liked the choices that Jon's played on these shots so far this week, and I'm sure he has not loved the results, and so this is about the only thing left that he hasn't tried. Really got to be slow up the face of the front of this green.
Well, he showed Hideki one option there, Jay.
He sure did, and more importantly, he's got to get to show Rickie Fowler the line. His ball is really, really close to Rickie's coin. Hideki's going to use these beautiful hands that he has. He's going to use a 60-degree wedge. This ball's going to land about 2 or 3 feet on the green and stop dead up right next to the flagstick.
The field's getting this up and down about half the time.
Just as you predicted.
And he's on the better half of the field. Look at him keep this face open. Open.
I know they practice and they practice and they practice, but at some point, is it just some guys are just blessed with the natural ability? And when you practice, it just becomes better.
Why don't you include yourself?
No, because
Say we.
No, because you see that, and it's just these soft hands and these great hands and the trust of doing that and to be able to pull that shot off.
It's technique and practice.
And with that comes confidence.
But if you have bad technique, I don't care how much you practice, it's not going to work very often. So you need.
And you won't have any confidence.
Well, you need good technique first.
Absolutely.
You'll raise the percentages of the ability to hit a good shot, good quality shot, by having good technique. He hadn't been able to buy many these 2 days.
It's very interesting because he's been out of position off the tee a lot, and he hasn't putted well. I mean, this guy's got so much game and so much talent. I think what you said earlier is right on key. He's going to file this thing away, he's going to learn from it, and he's going to move on.
It's an anomaly. Forget it. Move on. And the other thing I'd tell him, no one's going to remember. No one will remember, so just forget it. No one's going to think less of Jon as a player. Certainly not as a person. So just move on.
Let's see if Rickie can get the timing of his routine right. This is about an 8-foot putt, just a little less than 8 foot. There's not much to this, just off of left center.
He finally backed off. That's kind of what he was doing every time he was making these earlier.
A big par-saving putt there for Fowler at 17. Carrying some momentum into the par 5 18.
If he could figure out how to make a 4 on this last hole, it would actually be a huge victory, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you, Mark. He's had a lot of ups and downs. He has not nearly been as sharp as yesterday, but he can get a 4 up the last. It's going to make dinner taste so much better.
Matsuyama still has a chance to tie Johnny Miller.
That was a sporty little up and down there. Very soft hands. Jay, you and I could have chili dipped that and had it come back to our feet 2 or 3 times.
No question.
That's why we'd have putted it.
I was delighted to have a microphone in my hand and not a 60-degree wedge.
This is the clutch par-saving putt by Rickie Fowler. He made one of those at 6.
He released the toe. Rickie has a little bit of an open-close stroke, and as the heat gets on, it's harder to close it. He missed several of those putts actually to the right today.
We move to 18, the Mammoth par 5.
Today, it's set up at a docile 676 yards. It's about a 285-yard shot to get over these first 2 sets on each side. You can come up right in there just short of that bunker and have some chance to reach it. I don't think you're going to reach it right now. That bunker right there is what they deal with on the layup, provided they get it in the fairway. Today's hole location is middle left, 16 steps on the surface. And that's a deceiving 14 from the left edge because about 6 or 7 of that last bit on the left is actually going down into no man's land. He missed left, that ball rolled 25, 30 yards down the hill.
Matsuyama has 3 wood in his hand.
They were, a couple of people, they had several reaching earlier today, but they had a pretty good 10, 12 mile an hour trailing breeze, almost a wind, which I don't think they have right now.
Not much wind to speak of. It's blowing a couple different directions, but mostly from the right. Definitely not helping.
It's actually, there you go, that graphic will actually do my work for me. He can actually reach that bunker with this club. And that's turned right down the gut.
Just striped.
That would be 4 for 64. Sounds good.
It'd be one better than Rickie Fowler's 65 yesterday, and Fowler is taking out driver.
Which to me doesn't seem game plan, but I don't know what you think, Jay. Seems like 3 wood might be the play.
Well, he hit driver yesterday from the up tee some 40-some-odd yards closer, and he could reach. I don't believe he can reach this thing no matter how good he hits this tee shot.
He may just want to hit it. And prove to hit everyone, including himself, that there's not anything wrong. And mission accomplished.
Hit that one well.
Perfect. It'll just make the layup easier.
This swing is going to be golf's Big Bang Theory. I'd like to have the speed measured on this swing.
There's the go and draw. There's the go and draw setup. Big turn. Stay turned. Rip it.
He ripped it. He got through the fairway into the first cut.
All right. They're all above ground.
The walk atop the lead. Paul Casey, Brian Harman, Brooks Koepka. Brian Harman just missed a putt on the 18th green for the outright lead. And he will go into the clubhouse tied with Paul Casey as a second round leader at 7 under par. So Rickie Fowler has a chance with a birdie to have a share of that second round lead. Unless Brooks Koepka has something to say about it. He's got one more hole to go.
You know, you could run almost 700-yard dashes on this hole.
You could.
If you include that area that's beyond the screen and to the left, for sure. Be a downhill finish.
I'm pretty sure you'd fall.
All right, Jay, he's laying it up. I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. 356 yards, and even these guys can't hit their 3-wood that far.
So
the only question is if he's going to take on this pot bunker that guards the center of the fairway about 120 yards out.
He's set up at the right edge of the grandstands, turning it right up the middle. I believe it's going to be short of it. That's the prudent play. Leave himself some kind of wedge third.
By the way, the group ahead, Tommy Fleetwood, just birdied this hole, so he moves into a tie now for the lead at 7 under. So that group ahead has 2 players tied for the lead in Brian Harman and Tommy Fleetwood.
It's going to be a great weekend. It appears the cut's going to fall at 1 over. The lead's going to be somewhere in that 7-8 under range.
Perfect life for Rickie, 321 yards to the flagstick. This is his 3-wood. Slightly downhill lie. Should help him keep this ball right.
Fine.
He's going to take it past that bunker. That was an aggressive play. He's up on top, level with the hole location. He's going to have a good look. Joe's going to have to get a different number because I promise you that hole location sheet's probably not from way over there. Jon
Rahm's trying to get to the airport. He's got 313 yards.
Well, something tells me he doesn't buy a ticket. Get on the plane he's going to get on.
Not traveling the way you and I do.
You mean standby?
Maybe he needs a valet or something, Brooksy.
He's going to have a great career.
I agree. I can't wait to watch. I mean, he's going to mature. He's got all aspects of the game that he needs. Overdose in power. Really a good young player. 22 years old, my gosh. Top 10 in the world. And what? Really under 12 months of playing as a professional?
Under 12 months. And I wouldn't try to put out the fire in him. He's got that fire in his belly. Just let it go.
No, I think it fits for the Spaniard in him as well. I think it's neat. He's got, Seve as a hero, and he saw all the fire and emotional aspects of Tiger's game that I'm sure he emulated. And, Tiger, when things didn't go his way, he wasn't afraid to let people know.
Meanwhile, looking at that leaderboard, you think about what has transpired the last 6 majors we've had 6 first-time winners in major championships. I realize it's just the second round. But looking at the leaderboard,
well, you can keep going down the leaderboard because you're not going to find a major winner for a while.
Sergio
is at 3 under par.
Is at 3 under, and I believe he is the first one who is a major winner on the leaderboard.
Martin Keimer is at 3.
Yep.
So the odds of a new major winner are pretty high right now.
To make it 7 straight majors with a first-time winner.
And what Rickie's done by not playing another semi-flawless or great round, he's let a lot of people in the game here. It's going to be, I mean, there's, honestly, if 65 guys make the cut, you would not be going out on a limb saying 40 to 45 of them still have a legitimate shot. This is the kind of course that produces huge stroke swings. We're witnessing it here. Rickie 65, Hideki 74 yesterday. We've almost got the reverse happening. Rickie's 1 over. There's an 8-shot swing right here in this group. All right, Jay, what do we have?
Matsuyama's got 146 yards. Excuse me, 146 yards. We've got a little wind over the player's right shoulder. This is a pitching wedge, and he has got to carry that false front on this green that's, oh gosh, I don't know, 4 steps short of this flagstick, 5 steps short of this flagstick. This ball's got to be carried to the flagstick.
Yeah, it needs to get at least 10 yards into the green, maybe 12. And that's about 13. Jay's got about 12 feet straight up the hill for his 4 and a 64.
Boy, have we been treated to 2 great rounds of golf in this championship.
Well, they played so ridiculously well the first 10 or 12, 11, 12 holes that when they started making pars, we started getting disappointed in them.
That's a gap wedge for Rahm, 121 yards, perfect lie.
And a nice way to close out for Jon Rahm. We'll have that look for a birdie.
Yeah, the only thing in effect there is his career scoring average at the U.S. Open, which will end up being pretty low, I suspect. Now, Rickie should have a beautiful right down the tube look, and he's ready.
97-yard L wedge.
All 3 just pouring it in there. So Rickie will have that putt to get to 7 under and even for the day.
Maybe we make too big a deal about it, whether it's a 72 or 73. I know 72 sounds better.
You know, as a player, we grind it out for that extra shot no matter what. 74 to 75, it was one better. That's all I can say.
Well, it also feels good to be able to finish your round with a birdie. And for Rickie to know that he could go in with a share of the lead.
If he wants it. You got to want it. Well, you don't have to want it. There's been a lot of great careers that were made from guys winning that basically never had the lead going to the last day. I know Rickie wants it. That was said in jest.
Rickie was tied for the lead with Sergio, Charlie Hoffman, and Thomas Peters at the Masters. He ended up finishing tied for 11th.
part of the learning process. He's still young. He's 28. He hasn't even hit his prime years. But the learning process is when those wheels were starting to come off, starting to turn.
11, 12, 13.
Well, and just from 11 to 12T, right in there. Second shot maybe was, misplayed at 12. Walking to the green. There's got to be some way he can, it's more than just self-talk, but it's a change in focus to where he can focus on something other than where he is. I know that sounds crazy, but mentally remove yourself from the situation.
No, that's exactly right, Mark. Rickie's got a 16-footer here. Just slight movement from left to right and a little bit down, but pretty level.
For a share of the lead.
It's going to stay out. Well, not many players in the field would have passed on 6 under after 2, including Rickie. He just doesn't probably love the way he got there. So 1 ahead, tied, 1 back's pretty irrelevant at this point in the championship. The fact that he's right there again. These normally go in. He's just going to continue the same streak.
A 5 to end it for Rahm. A 73. Today, 1 over, 5 over for the championship. And now, Matsuyama, a chance to tie the record set by Johnny Miller in 1973, and also a chance to get to 6 under for the championship.
This is an 8-footer with not much movement at all. Maybe just try to go a bit to his left. Really, really flat.
We tied history yesterday in this group with Rickie's 7 under. Matsuyama just misses a chance to tie history here.
Well, he liked the stroke.
But a 7 under 65 matches the round that Rickie Fowler posted yesterday. 7 birdies, no bogeys. And Fowler finishes off the 18th of a par. And he shoots a 1 over 73, and he is 6 under for the championship. So this group, over 2 days, treated us to some phenomenal golf.
Oh, they did. We were lucky to get to watch that. We learned a lot more about all 3 players. I know I did. It's been a blast. Really contrasting groups from our morning to afternoon. It was great they paired all these young bucks together, and they didn't disappoint.
The leaderboard, Paul Casey, Brian Harmon, Tommy Fleetwood, and Brooks